We got some people joining us. Laura says hello. Thank you for writing in the chat for us.
She's all
And welcome to the Dog Gurus Facebook Live. So we are the Dog Gurus, and we have our special guest, Amy Hillis from PAC, with us today. But the Dog Gurus is a coaching company that helps pet care businesses launch, grow, and profit. We are number one in pet care staff training resources and the only company with content accredited by PAC. So that's a huge highlight for us. Next week, we want to join you, or we want to welcome you, invite you, sorry. I've been on screen a lot today. We want to invite you to come join us for next week's session, where we're going to talk about ways that you can get the most out of the holiday season, and we'll give you some revenue generating ideas to have for add-ons for your holiday sales or just maybe some parties. It's going to be a really great one. That's going to be next week, Wednesday, September 27th at 3:30 p.m. And as I was saying, we have Amy here from PAC today. And Carrie, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Sure. So, well, welcome, Amy. We're super excited to have you with us. For those of you who don't know the acronym PAC, it stands for the Professional Animal Care Certification Council, and it was formed in 2016, I believe, and is the only third-party certification body that is in the pet care industry, and they are certifying professionals worldwide. So, Amy is the current chair of the board of directors, and we're excited to have her here. So, Amy, I'm just going to ask that you give us a little bit more history about the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And I see already in the chat somebody's saying how they're proud to be PAC certified. So I love that. So in terms of the history of the organization, you're right. So it was founded in, I think, 2015, 2016, right around in there. And it was founded by some of our friends at the Dog Gurus, actually. So we love that. But it was founded because there was a need for independent third-party certification in the pet care industry. Prior to PAC, there was nothing that really existed. So, most pet care professionals know that pet care is virtually unregulated. There's no governing body, no prior knowledge is required or experience to get started. And standards of care can vary based on the area that you live in. So a business license does not necessarily equal quality care. It just means that you can operate the business. And the public assumes that if someone has a pet care business, then they're qualified and they have the experience to do what they're doing. And I personally don't blame them for that. I mean, anyone who calls themselves a professional, we typically assume that they have some type of certification or credential or the proper education to operate. We think about pediatricians, teachers, chiropractors, massage therapists, they all have that. And so the public then assumes that if someone has a pet care business, they're qualified and they have the experience to do what they're doing. And in reality, you can put up your Facebook and Instagram page and just kind of take it away with marketing. So back to the history, that's why PAC was founded, to address that need, to meet that need for the certification in the industry and to make the industry a more professional place. So I know when PAC was founded and when this idea was getting going, there were different experts in the industry that were connecting, different facility owners, daycare providers, dog walkers, trainers, pet sitters, to really come together and create and establish those standards and the best practices for operating a pet care business, and not just a dog daycare or facility-based business, but even pet sitting and just any type of handling and working with animals. That's what these standards were created around. So the questions were written, 3 levels of certification were developed. And so there's 3 different exams based on the experience of the person taking the test. And one level is not better than another. They're just different, just based on where you're at in your business. And so with PAC, we work with the Professional Testing Corporation, or PTC, to ensure that the test is reliable and sound, and that it applies around the world, that it's international. So there's no questions that are specific to somebody's geographical area. So for example, there's not going to be a question that says, what's the accepted dog to staff ratio in North Carolina? Doesn't matter. It's just all about what is the general best practice. So after the certification, once someone takes their test and gets certified, then there's a requirement for continuing education. You must stay aligned with our code of ethics to maintain and renew that certification. And that's pretty much how it works. You take your test, you pass, and you've proven that you know what you're doing, and then you use that continuing education to get recertified.
That's amazing. Well, I will say I am certified as well. So
Yes,
yay.
you are. Love that. I know. I love that. You're one of my, unofficial mentors. When I, saw that you were certified and all the great things that you were doing when you had dog tired, I was like, okay, how do I get to be like that? That's what I want to do.
Well, it's funny though, because Susan and Charlotte, who were the founders of PAC, they really had a vision, because I remember in my area, my just little tiny community in Anchorage, Alaska, that there weren't any regulations, and you could look around and see how somebody just hung up a shingle, put out some social media, and yay, I own a pet care facility. But the veterinarians in our community were naysayers for dog daycare and for certain kind of that whole cage-free boarding type situation, because there were so many injuries that were happening just because people didn't know what they were doing. And it's not so much that they were intentionally providing a poor service. It's just you don't necessarily know what you don't know. So if they didn't know what was the better way or more ethical way to do something, then the service wasn't being provided at that level of care quality. So for me, I reached out to Susan and Robin and Charlotte with the dog gurus and just wanted more information, and then kind of found my way into what PAC was. So I sat for the very first exam in the fall of, I think it was 2016. So that taking that first provider level was so amazing, and it just made me feel like I was as smart as I thought I was.
You're like, I knew it. I knew what I was doing.
I was always a squeaky wheel with our animal control facility in town, because that's who would license our pet care facilities. And I'd be like, I know that there's better ways that we could do this. We should be, regulating everybody in our town. And they're like, yeah. And then I'm like, look, I have a certification that says I know my stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But it's crazy though. You're right. I mean, and I get why veterinarians for so long, and even still now sometimes, are skeptical of that concept of dog daycare, because if you don't know what you're doing, even if you mean well, it really, really bad things can happen. And so that's the whole purpose behind this certification, is to give pet parents the peace of mind that those who are providing the care know what they're doing and they're good at it. And they've proven it through this third party, this independent third party certification. It's not just me saying, well, I've been in business for X number of years, so you should trust me because I've been doing it for that long. That's great. And maybe you are really good at what you do, but it's just not, you just don't know for sure unless there's something to back it up, like a certification like PAC.
Yeah. And I think that's where the dog gurus and PAC are so aligned, because Robin and Susan, when they were co-founding the dog gurus, and then Susan being one of the co-founders of PAC, I mean, their mission is really to elevate the industry, because it's all about the pets that we serve.
Right.
It's all about elevating the standard level of care to provide the safest environment possible for these pets. And nobody goes into this business just thinking they're gonna, make as much money as possible and just try to fit as many dogs in. I mean, we go into this business because we all love these little furry animals so much. And sometimes you get into business and you're like, holy moly, what did I do? And you realize that there is a lot of different layers to it, and there's standards to it that are best practices. And I think
Exactly.
of that.
So yeah, exactly. We really exist to have an avenue for pet professionals to set themselves apart from those who are just doing it as a hobby, to be able to show that they're certified, for pet parents to have a benchmark or a standard of what quality pet care actually looks like. And then we also want to be able to, similar to what you do with the dog gurus, we want to connect those industry leaders who are certified with quality education and like-minded peers to stay current on best practices. So lots of different things that we really hope to be able to do for people.
So Amy, while we're talking about like the certification aspect and continuing education, go ahead and also talk about like the code of conduct, and the fact that there is a statement that the people who become certified have to follow, as far as standing up or setting themselves apart by holding up to those standards.
Exactly. So we have a code of conduct that all certified professionals must abide by, both when they prepare to take the exam and then through their renewal process when they go to renew their certification. And the code of conduct is really a code of ethics, and it explains how we should be as pet care professionals. So how we should treat each other and how we should treat our staff members with respect and with dignity, how we should interact with our clients by never intentionally deceiving them, always doing what's best, how we interact with community members and vendors. And the most important thing, or to me, the most important statement that stands out to me the most is that the pets come above all other considerations in the business, including profit. So we all know, we're in business because we do want to make money. I mean, we have to make money to be able to continue our mission. And this is something that we're very open about with our team at Social Pet. I'm also a facility owner. And so, we tell our people we need to make money because this is how we can continue to operate and be a business and continue to serve as many dogs as possible and give them that best quality care. But the dollar is not the way that we make our decisions. We make our decisions based on what is best for the pets in our care. And that's something that all certified professionals must abide by. So whenever we're faced with a decision in our business, which is daily, it's not, we're dealing with living things. It's not black and white. There's tons of decisions in every scenario. Even if you've seen it a million times, there's enough nuances where you have to take each individual as an individual because they're individual dogs and they're unique. So you make your decisions for what's best for that animal based on what is actually going to truly help and benefit that animal, not what's going to make you the most money as a business owner. So it's something that can be sort of uncomfortable to talk about. I think you guys at the Dog Gurus do a great job with this. You want to provide that quality care while also making a profit and making a good living. But I think what we both agree on is all decisions come down to what's best for the animal in your care. And that's really the fundamental, the basis of our code of ethics and our humane handling statements.
That just makes me think what you were talking earlier about, doctors and teachers, lawyers, chiropractors, people who have to go through some for, the bar exam or your medical boards that you have to pass. And, then in a case of a physician, then they sign the Hippocratic Oath, which starts with do no harm. And that's the same way, when we look at wanting to take this profession professionally and can have people look at us more as the experts in what we do, that having that statement that we have to uphold to is very powerful, and being able to share that and educate our pet parents on that really does set us apart. So if somebody goes through and they study and they pass the exam, what is PAC doing to kind of help them promote that certification and help them set themselves apart within their local area?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely important to promote that certification. If nobody knows that you have it, then it's not going to do really any good. So when somebody gets certified, we send them a welcome package via email, and that gives them some ideas to start how to share their certification with the public. So there will be templates for social media posts, for emails, for a press release for the community to explain to others that you've just achieved this certification or that someone on your team has just achieved this certification. And then there's also a certified professionals only Facebook group that our certified professionals can join to connect with others. And then there's the digital badge, some other marketing materials that they get. So they can put that digital badge and their signature on their email and print out the physical certificate. And then throughout the course of their certification, we try to give them as many ideas as possible, both for marketing and then even for educational content to share with their communities, primarily on social media, but some other avenues too, on how to spread the word about certification. So on the PAC side, we have been getting more into the veterinarian community. So I know, Carrie, you were talking about that earlier, about the vets in your community being a little skeptical at first. So we are working to connect more with different veterinarians in the US and Canada. That way, when veterinarians are aware that this certification exists, they can start recommending it to pet parents. As a local certified professional, you can then go to your local veterinarian and say, hey, here's some materials and resources. Here's a rat card or information about me. I'm certified, so you can refer me because I've got this credential now. We've created more marketing materials this year. And so we currently have an offer going for a limited time where we will actually give you a credit for a banner that we created that you can post it in your lobby, or if you have an event in your area coming up, you can display this banner that tells people that you have certified professionals working for you. So we already have that created. And then if you just submit your receipt to us, then we'll give you some money back for the purchase of that banner. We create window clings and some other social media posts so people can display that at their businesses too. And then we hold best practices sessions throughout the year. So we recently did one about marketing certification and how to promote yourself. That's something that can be kind of sticky. It's not really natural, I think, for most people to want to brag about themselves. And so we try to give ideas where that becomes more comfortable to market your certification. And then again, in that certified professional Facebook group, we're sharing ideas with each other and connecting with each other about how we can promote our certification. So the other thing that we do is we really try to empower our certified professionals with quality education. And this year we've done more webinars than we ever have before, thanks to our amazing sponsors. So we've done webinars on best cleaning practices, utilizing technology, understanding the basics of accounting, data-driven decision-making, pet grief. So by connecting pet care professionals with quality education, they can then share with their communities that they're doing this education to say, hey, this is what certification looks like. This is what quality education looks like. So we try to be that resource for them so they can, get that information from us and then share it with their communities that this is what they're doing.
That's
Yeah,
great.
so it sounds like if you really want to differentiate your business from a competitor's, one of the ways to do that is to be PAC certified. I mean, it really does give your business and your staff the credibility that it deserves. That's what I'm.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that's been the biggest thing for me for Social Pets. That's our business that we own. We've got 3 dog daycare facilities in Charlotte, and the Charlotte market is so saturated. We have over 100 competitors in our area doing daycare and boarding. Those are just the ones who are operating legally. That doesn't count the ones who may be kind of flying under the radar, but we've got every franchise you can think of. We've, like, you name it, it's there. And so we're constantly kind of on alert of how do we continue to set ourselves apart. And so Bill and I, we got PAC certified a few years ago. And there's one other certified professional in our area, which we love because then together we can raise that bar. But it's definitely one of the ways that we can set ourselves apart from others, so pet parents can see that, but then also it helps provide a career path too for our business and for our team. So, we're a large enough company where it's not really reasonable to get every person certified, but our managers are required to do it after a certain amount of time. And then we've been able to build these career paths where people can get continuing education, seek out certification, and then show that there actually is this viable career path in the pet care industry. So it's a way to differentiate yourselves both on that client and pet care side, as well as from an employer standpoint to attract and retain quality people.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people struggle with, some people maybe have gotten in the habit of giving people raises based on the length of time that they've been with the business.
Right.
Well, this is one way to kind of turn that around. If you're stuck in that cycle, you
Yeah.
can, incorporate PAC certification where they're required to get this certification in order to get this next level of promotion in the business or to get this next raise. And it's just going to help your business altogether. It's going to
Absolutely.
elevate the quality of care that you provide for your customers.
Absolutely. And what I've really seen since we've started putting PAC certification in our job descriptions and our job postings on Indeed is that we're attracting a higher quality candidate because they see that we do invest in education and training and things like that. And it's honestly put a lot of good pressure on me as the business owner and on Bill as the business owner, because our people are really hungry for this knowledge and the education and what else can I do? And as a business owner, I'm like, oh crap, like I need to make sure I'm staying on top of this too. And it's great. They want to keep learning. And I don't think I don't know if I didn't realize that or it just wasn't as obvious to me as it has been in the last couple of years. But since we've been really promoting it and getting more people certified, it's just had such a positive impact on our business and our turnover and everything. So I honestly can't imagine operating without this certification and with all of the continuing education things that we do.
I think it could be like very empowering for your staff. I mean, like they feel it makes them feel really good about themselves that they are true professionals.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one thing to just have the experience of working in a pet care center, but then to have the education that we provide through Dog Gurus and through some of the other platforms out there, and then have something to work towards and achieve, like PAC certification and some of the other ones like Fear Free certification. It's just really been a game changer for us. And it's great. It feels really good to be able to empower our people in this way and have them take ownership over their own careers.
That's great. And just to clarify, in case somebody out there is wondering, this is an individual certification. So
Correct.
it's the
Yes.
person that's being certified and not the facility. So if you have an employee that gets certified and then they leave, the certification doesn't stay with your organization. It goes with the person. So
That's correct. That's a really good point. That's something that people sometimes don't understand. So it's an individual certification. So if somebody does leave, they can take that certification with them. And there's things on the business side you can do to, make sure that it's a fair deal for everybody involved. But it's also great too if somebody can take a skill set that they've achieved with me and apply it to something else. I mean, I think that's always great. That's something that we're proud of, that we can provide for our people.
right.
Now, I know this question's probably in somebody's head right now. So, Carrie, this is more of a question for you. Did you pay for your staff to get certified, or did you make them pay for the certification? How did you work that?
I reimbursed them once they passed the exam. So I had every ounce of training material. They went through Pet Guru College and Knowing Dogs 101 and 201 that the Dog Gurus offer. They went through a lot of the IBPSA materials that are out there. So I provided all of that, but then they had to pay for the exam fee because it was a commitment on their part to study. And when they passed, I would reimburse it. So.
And did you find that people, because I'm just thinking what somebody's thinking in their head, oh my gosh, I'm going to pay for their certification and then they're going to leave me and take that knowledge somewhere else. Did you find that happening to you?
No, because we actually had them sign an agreement when we reimbursed them. And so basically, our goal was to have them stay a minimum of a year. So we would reimburse them. And if they left early with, it's kind of like non-compete agreements. Some of these are hard to actually hold up in,
More
court
of
or
a deterrent.
but we wanted to have that commitment from them. And part of the too was that once they were certified, we were really happy to get them involved in whether it was online, webinars or whatnot, that they could take continuing education credits. And they felt that support from us. And so that kind of kept them staying with us and not looking for something else. So.
Mhm. It's very similar with us too. We have a reimbursement process and then essentially a contract that they sign, or if they stay for a full year afterwards, then they don't have to pay it back. And then if they leave, then there's a prorated amount that they have to reimburse us. But yeah, I found too, if somebody is committed enough to take the exam, then they're probably committed to you as an employer as well. But from the employer standpoint too, you are getting that marketing benefit where you can market to your pet parents, hey, we have X number of certified professionals working here. And the certification it's still pretty, elite, I guess, in that we have several hundred certified professionals, but there's not necessarily a huge number in any one area. So you may be able to claim we're the first business to have a certified manager, or we're the first business to have 3 people certified in our state. Like there's still a lot of firsts and a lot of uniqueness to it that you can still claim from a marketing standpoint. And so, I always try to tell people it's not a spend, it's an investment. It's an investment in your future as a business. It's an investment in your employees. It's an investment in the pets, because the pets are benefiting from somebody having this education and this certification. And so, there's definitely the risk that somebody could just leave and maybe you get a little burned as an employer. There's things that you can do to protect yourself against that, but it is an investment that is worth making if it's something that you're able to do as an employer.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I think if you're investing in your staff member, I mean, you're not going to give it to anybody, right? I mean,
Right.
you're going to choose the right candidates for that investment. And I just think that they're going to appreciate you investing into them and their career. So I think that people ultimately are really good in the heart, and that they're not going to just turn around and take advantage of it.
I agree. And it creates a sense of positive peer pressure in the business too, because you see, somebody will see that, well, this person over there got certified and now maybe I should too, at least if for no other reason, maybe
Absolutely.
they want to get a raise or they want to move up in their career. But there's just so many benefits to it. That's an investment worth making.
You were
Absolutely.
talking about there's still those opportunities to be the first. I remember when my manager and I passed the very first exam back in 2016, we bought a banner that said Alaska's only certified pet care professionals, and then it was like this joke between us. We were just waiting. We're like, oh, we can at least change it and have the banner say Alaska's first because we finally had somebody else who was, certified within the state. And that finally happened. And it was so exciting to do that because we
Yeah.
wanted to see more and more people get certified. So yeah.
Exactly. It only helps all of us. It helps the industry when we can all get certified. And that's, that's something I hear somewhat frequently is, well, I've already been doing this for 20 years and my clients already trust me, so there's no point. And maybe you have been doing it for 20 years and maybe your clients do already trust you. And that's great. Maybe you are really good at what you're doing, but I mean, if we've learned nothing in these last few years, is that things can change like that. We went through a COVID pandemic. There's always just a lot happening economically and socially in our world, and you don't know what's coming. We just don't know. And I feel like it's only safe and smart to do what you can to arm yourself for the future. So maybe for that person who's been operating for 20 years and their clients trust them and they're full, maybe this wouldn't do anything for them. I don't know. But I know for me to have peace of mind, for me to sleep at night, and for me to do right by my clients, we need to do everything that we can to arm ourselves with the tools that we need, to just be prepared for anything. And I think this is one of those things. You can never, I mean, there's no such thing as saying, well, that education was a waste of time. You always learn from everything that you do. And so I think to protect against the future, it only makes sense to have these certifications and different educational resources, just because you never know what's going to happen.
Very true. So if somebody wants to get certified, what do they do? How often is the test given?
Yeah, so there's 3 testing windows throughout the year. Our next one is coming up in November. The registration deadline is October 11th. So the next exam cycle is November 4th through 18th. But every year there's 3 exam cycles. There's one in March, there's one in June, one in November. And so basically you just go to our website, it's paccert.org, and then it walks you through the entire process of how to sign up for the test and how to pay and everything. And then there's also a practice test that you can take that's going to really help prepare you for what to expect in terms of the formatting and the questions. So one thing I will say about the practice test, people don't always realize this at first, but with the practice test, you don't get an answer key. You don't get to see which questions you missed and what those correct answers are, because remember, PAC is third party. We're not the educator. We are just the tester. So by providing those correct answers, we could then be considered the educator, which we're not. So even though you don't get the exact answers, you still get a score report that tells you which areas you need to focus your studying on. So I've seen people use this practice test in a couple of different ways. Some people, what I did was I took it pretty soon after I registered, and then I used that as the basis to study from. So the topics that I needed more work on, that's where I focused my studying. My husband, Bill, what he did, he kind of did the opposite. He took the practice test 2 days before the exam. I'm like, why? What is that? And he said, because, we haven't taken a test in a really, really long time, a standardized test. I mean, we don't take that in our adult lives. And so for him, it helped get him back into the mode of, okay, I need to sit here for this amount of time. I need to do a multiple choice test. I need to remember how to, eliminate incorrect answers and that whole test taking process. And so for him, that was a really good way to prepare. And we both passed. So I guess it worked out for both of us.
Everybody has different learning mechanisms.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so you do the practice test, and there's also an online Facebook page, a PAC exam study group that you can go on. And a lot of people will use that too, to just bounce ideas off each other for studying or to ask questions or things like that. So yeah, we try to provide as many resources as we can for that.
That's great. Shante, do you have anything else that you wanted to ask Amy? Or?
No, I think that's about it. I guess we'll just wrap it up unless, Amy, is there any other information that you'd like to give out before we wrap this up?
We are going to be at the IBPSA conference coming up next week, and we will have a show special. We're going to be doing 10% off exam registration, so you should definitely come by and see us at IBPSA in Orlando. You can get 10% off your exam, register, several staff members to really make the most of that savings. But otherwise, you can find us online at paccert.org, on our socials at PACCSocial, PACCC social, and then of course the IBPSA conference too.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you there. Courtney and I are going to be there. So we'll have to hang out after the trade show.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Amy. We appreciate your time. Carrie, as always, my partner in crime, thank you. And for those of you out there watching, we appreciate you. I will invite you to join our Grow Your Pet Care Facebook group if you have not done so already. I'll go ahead and put that link right there. We only have 2 rules. It's be nice is one of our rules, and no selling. So everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.